basketball team. I told this to a few of my younger friends, and I stress younger. I told them I was going to be here and have been asked to talk, and they asked if I was going to demonstrate my two-handed set shot and my underhanded free throws. And I looked at them and I said, those were back in the 30s. I'm not that. But anyhow, yeah, as Kurt said, we had a phenomenal season. Probably many of you have seen or heard of the historic film out there about a small town in Indiana that went on in the early 1960s to win the Indiana State basketball tournament. The film was called The Hoosiers. Still around, still played on Netflix and things like that. Well, our team was the Wisconsin version of the Hoosiers. We ended our regular season with 9 wins and 9 losses. That was 9 losses. And Justin, you're absolutely right. We learned from our losses. Where is Justin back there? We learned from every one of them. Anyhow, that was 62 years ago. Seems like just yesterday. But a lot of water has gone under the bridge. And unfortunately, our 2 coaches, Marshall Taylor and Jack Torresani, who, by the way, are both in the Hall of Fame, and 7 of our teammates out of the 12 have passed away in those years. There are only 5 of us left. Tom Windorf, and I don't know if Tom is here tonight, but he's a Wausau local, has won many state championships as a basketball coach here in the Wausau area, both boys and girls. Also Manser Sear. Manser now lives in New Jersey. Tom Windorf, Dave Windorf's brother, lives in Fort Payne, Alabama. And Aubrey Fish lives in Arizona. And then I'm the 5th one. So a lot of water has gone under the dam, and we've lost a lot of our teammates over that time. As I indicated, our regular season was 9 wins and 9 losses. But you have to look more closely at that 1-loss record to find out that we were a pretty good team. And more to the point, we knew we were a pretty good team. In 1960, we played in the Big Rivers Conference. It was a 5-team conference. Eau Claire Memorial to the west, La Crosse Central to the southwest, Marinette to the northeast, and Menominee, Michigan was right next door to Marinette. So we only had 8 conference games. So we were allowed in those years to play 18. So Marsh Taylor scheduled a really tough 10-season non-conference schedule for us. For example, we played and beat Madison West. We played and beat Madison East. They came up here and we scored 90 points against them at home. And in those days, 90 points was a lot of points for 2 reasons. We played 8-minute quarters. I noticed at the game last night they play 18-minute halves today, so they play 4 minutes longer than we did. And we did not have the 3-point shot, the 3-point try. So we scored 93 points. We also beat Shawano that year at Shawano. And Shawano in the late 50s was a Wisconsin basketball powerhouse. They won back-to-back state championships in the late 1950s. So then we went down, and probably our toughest non-conference weekend was going to Milwaukee. We played Shorewood and beat them at Shorewood. Manser Sear likes to tell a funny story about that. We were in the car with Marsh driving to our hotel in downtown Milwaukee, and Marsh had the radio on and WTMJ, and the sports announcer came on, and he talked about and gave the high school basketball scores for that Friday night. And he got to our game with Shorewood, and he said, "This can't be right." He said, "It says here that Wausau beat Shorewood tonight. By the way, Shorewood was ranked number 5th in the state." He said, "I'll get back to you on that." A little while later, he got back and said, "Oh, by the way," he said, "Wausau did upset Shorewood tonight." So we had a big chuckle about that. Well, the next night we went out to Waukesha. They call themselves the Mighty Mighty Black Shirts. At that time, they were the number ranked team of the state, had been all year, and they were 13-0. They won 13 straight games. Well, they beat us, but they beat us 68-65 on their home court. And if you look closely at the box score, you found out that we outscored them in 3 of the 4 quarters. We outscored them in the first quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. And our downfall was the second quarter, where they outscored us 21-10. So if you look at it overall, we beat them by 8 points. We only played 3 quarters. But anyhow, so that's a tip, Kurt, as to why we were successful. We had such a tough regular season that we knew we could play anybody in the state and play them hard when we got into the tournament. I'll mention that in 1960, the state tournament